Going live, going live, going live. Let's go to TikTok. Let's get up on TikTok. Let's go live now that I'm in prison. Out of TikTok prison again. That's always nice. Okay. Let's go to live stream. All right, I can go live. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Wish I could get this damn beauty light just out of the way, just a little bit more. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not too bad. All right. Welcome to TikTok Live. I'm live on YouTube, and I'm live on TikTok. The only difference is on YouTube, I get to do the live, and then it's up forever, which is awesome. All right, let's get some people on here. Let's do some stuff. Let's talk about some things. There we go. And I have, how many people do I have on my YouTube? 0. That's all right, though. I can live with that for now. I've already got 2 likes. I haven't even said anything yet. That's awesome. I like that. All right, let's do this. Zero hedge. Okay, so what's happened in the last week that I've been in TikTok prison? Well, a lot of things, actually. Let's do this. Let's go turn off my, boom. There. I turned off my Wi-Fi. For some reason, my Wi-Fi makes it glitchy. Been waiting for it to come back. Yeah, it took me a week. You know, I got kicked off for hate speech or hateful behavior. You know, just got to be super, super, super careful what you say nowadays. It was interesting back when the Chinese were spying on us on TikTok. You could say whatever you wanted because when you're spying on somebody, you don't tell them what to say. You just listen. What's up? You're on repeat. Uh-oh. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community. Filtering you is protecting you. Don't forget that. It's clearing back up now. Yeah, because they took off the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi seems to screw me up. We don't need TikTok. No, everybody needs to go to YouTube and look up Big and Corn Fed on YouTube. Because the sooner I can get to 100,000 there, I can stop messing around with getting kicked off of here every single time I talk about anything important. And there's some important things going on, but I just can't talk about them. I just can't. You just get booted every time. Not on it. Oh, I am. Yeah, it's funny because I'm not exactly sure what I said, but usually it boils down to this. If you're talking about religion, you can talk about Christianity, you can say anything you want, but there are a couple of other religions that are sacred and you cannot talk about them at all. Like you cannot bring them up or you'll get booted immediately. And you guys can figure out which 2 those are. They're at war right now. Yeah, Silver's doing really well. And, you know, that's the thing. You go back to this idea of rate cuts. Why are you cutting rates? What's going on? Well, rate cuts because they realize they've overdone it in a big way. By the way, thank you for the likes because that helps go to the main algorithm. And then it says, hey, people like this. Okay, well, let's let this crazy bastard Big and Corn Fed talk to more people. Oh, cool. You watched my YouTube video. Awesome. You know what? I never even looked. I don't think I can do it while I'm streaming, but let me see. Nope. Doesn't show me how many people are on my channel now. But I know that the last time I talked to you guys about it, you helped me a lot. It jumped up from like 90 something to 130, just like, or 120 something, just right within a few minutes. So I really appreciate that. Because the thing is that YouTube, obviously, there are some things that you can't say there, but you can talk a lot more openly. Let's see. I think silver is garbage. We can debate it. Well, in 2000, this was $1. It's 10 grams. Now it's $10. That's 1,000% in 25 years. Not bad. I think it's okay. Basically, silver is not designed to make you rich overnight. There are times, like right now, where it's really strangely priced and it shouldn't be as low as it is, and it has the ability to jump. But usually it takes the slow train. And usually it's there for one thing and one thing only: insurance. Yes, I'm back. I finally got out of TikTok prison. You know, the food's not as bad as they say. And they actually let me sleep in my own bed when I'm in TikTok prison, which is nice because I have a special pillow made for my extra fat head. Oh, speaking of extra fat head, hold on. Let me put on my normal size glasses, which don't fit me at all. But they're reading glasses. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. I was in the Marine Corps, and I was on the rifle team for a while, and I was a fuck up, so I didn't stay on the rifle team for a long time, even though I was a really, really, really good rifleman. I just didn't take it seriously. I got caught one day. There was a wild ferret. I believe it was a ferret that lived at the range, and I made friends with it. And one day, somebody is Colonel, General, I don't know, but he came by, and I was between rounds. I decided to take a little break and took a Twinkie or a donut or something over there, and I was feeding him. He was sitting on my lap, and he wasn't amused. I thought it was awesome, you know, wild animal sitting on my lap, eating out of my hand. I thought it was pretty cool, but apparently when you're not doing anything at the rifle range, you're supposed to sit there with your thumb in your ass. Oh well. Let's see the front of that cool shirt. That it says Moonshine Spirit. It's a redneck shirt. I got it at a redneck shop for rednecks. I figure big and corn-fed, redneck, kind of goes together. I'm one of those dangerous rednecks, though. I'm an educated redneck. We're the dangerous ones. Let's see. Last video uploaded explained where you went. I think that was actually the last time I got thrown in TikTok prison, believe it or not. So that's kind of weird. But yeah, let's see. Let's talk about, let's see. By the way, this is one of the nice things about having a Neanderthal brow, big, thick Cro-Magnon man brow, is I can just rest my glasses on it. Go. Name on YouTube is Big and Corn Fed. I actually put it on my bio here. It's right above my phone number in case you want to text me and buy a whole bunch of silver. Speaking of which, got some silver here. This is burnished, by the way. This is it. I don't know why, but people actually pay extra for burnished coins. Now, when I see a burnished coin, I think, damn, that thing's filthy. I need to clean it. But then you see something like this, and it's all shiny, and you're like, oh, well, shit, that's what silver is supposed to look like. Right. Yeah, that's what I thought, too. By the way, this one's thinner than usual because this is a ½ ounce. Be careful of this because there are some ½ ounce coins that are made to look like 1 ounce coins. What the hell is this in my hand? History of America, Freedom and Democracy. What the I didn't even know I had this. George Washington. George Washington's inauguration, April of 1789. Oh, that's why I pulled this out. I kept this one for myself. Every once in a while, I find a coin in there that it's just too damn cool. Now, this is your average coin. It's nice. I mean, it's a buffalo on one side, and it's a Indian head on the other, and you know, it's supposed to remind us of old-fashioned real money. And you know, it's made of 999 fine silver, so it is real money. P. Diddy's CEO is quitting. I don't really blame him, actually. From what I understand, I was born and raised in Hollywood, so I can tell you that nothing surprises me. Nothing you could tell me would surprise me. Hey, Pat. This is another half-ounce coin, but here's the tricky part. Little sneaky sucker. That's why you gotta see that? That's a lot thinner. This is a half-ounce coin, but as you can see, it's much smaller. It looks like a half-ounce coin. This one, those are the sneaky ones. So that's why you always weigh the silver. And is this a half ouncer? Yes, it is. Oh, these are interesting. This one's cool because it says, Air Force, Marines, Navy. There's another service. I forget what they are. But anyway, they're the guys who clean up after the Marines. Army guys. That's right. All-time highs again for stocks, Mr. Doomsday. Yes, it is. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we hit a couple more all-time highs. Now, if the S&P breaks 6,300, that would shock me. But when you cut rates and you make money cheaper and you give money to corporations who are languishing, well, they can extend for a little bit longer. Now, let's see. What do you think will happen with the housing market? This drop doesn't mean a hell of a lot. But if they keep cutting, which they will, then it could cause a melt up, which is really bad. Is Nibiru real? No. Planet X. No. You look. All right, let's take a little break from the silver stuff, and we'll talk about my favorite hobby, which is ancient history. Wormwood, Nemesis, Nibiru, Planet X. They've got a lot of names for it. There are some guys at NASA who believe that there could be something out in the outer solar system, which has caused a disturbance, a perturbation in the outer planets. And when I say outer planets, outer planetoids, excuse me. But it's really like there's no real evidence that there is a monster planet out there somewhere. And if there were, it would be so far away at this point that you can't see it. Like we can't even see it with our telescopes. Now, I do have a theory. If you want me to put on my conspiracy hat. Tin foil keeps out 5G and aliens. I think that the New Horizons being shot out to Pluto to take pictures was bullshit. I don't think Pluto's that interesting a planet that they spent that much money. I think that New Horizons zipped past Pluto like it was a gas station in Alamosa, Colorado. It just kept going. And I believe that the real reason that they sent it out there was because once it got past Pluto and it started getting a little bit closer to the Oort cloud, then we could see what the hell's really out there because it's got a hell of a telescope on it. So once you send something that far out and then start looking around, you could actually find if there's anything out there. So that's my conspiracy theory. Now, why the hell they wouldn't just tell us, hey, New Horizons is done with Pluto and it's going to go out and keep searching for Planet X, for another planet? I don't know why they wouldn't tell us that. Unless the reptilian shapeshifters that run the world told them not to say it. Okay. Well, I'm not really sure that there are any reptilians that are shapeshifting and running the country. However, the Hubble telescope's good, but the James Webb telescope makes it look like you're looking through a petri dish. The Webb has changed everything. Yes, there is an asteroid on the way. There's a lot of asteroids on the way. There are hundreds of thousands of asteroids on the way. The question is, will they hit us? Most of them won't. Thank you, Jupiter. Thank you, Sun. Because Jupiter sucks up most of them. And what Jupiter doesn't suck up, the Sun does. As a matter of fact, if you've ever seen a sun-diving comet, it's pretty badass. You can see them on Soho and Solar Observatory and oh shit, it's A and B. There's 2 satellites out there. We can see a lot of sun-diving comets with them. Yeah, well, I think big money is building bunkers because they realize that things have become incredibly unstable. And when I say incredibly unstable, I mean like really, really bad. And they're getting worse. You know, we just sent some more warships, and we're getting ready to do what we need to do to defend our 51st state, apparently, Israel. And it's, you know, Lindsey Graham, who is an absolute inhuman monster as far as I'm concerned. I saw him laughing about how many Russians we get to kill, and we don't even have boots on the ground in Ukraine. And I just couldn't wrap my head around that. Could not wrap my head around that at all. It's just to see him say that and then to laugh that it's the best money we've ever spent in Ukraine. Man, I just don't understand that way of thinking. But, you know, chicken hawks are like that. So yeah, bunkers are definitely a big thing nowadays. And, you know, one of the things that I want to do is I want to teach people how to sort of have a few things laying around just in case, but, you know, basically prepping on a budget. I don't want people to freak out and think the world's coming to an end next week. Got to do, but if you don't have the money for it, you know, I'd say 5 pounds or 5 bags of 20 pounds each of rice. That is a 5-month supply of carbs for a normal human. That's plenty. And 5 bags would be about $60, which would be less than 10. Oh shit, I can't look it up. I was going to look it up on my phone. I offered to buy my ex a cup of coffee the other day, and she said, "Sure, I'll take one." And she sent me a text. It was about that long of what it was. So I ordered it. It was a pumpkin spice something or other with 1% this and, you know, this and that, 2 pumps of this, and holy shit. Anyway, so I'm not saying she's high maintenance, but after it took me 15 minutes to order it, it was $7. Oh, okay, great question. The way that you keep rice fresh is if you're just going to keep it in the original bags, bring it home, throw it in your freezer for 10 days. If it's frozen for 10 days and then you let it thaw out and just put it in the closet, you should have about 4 or 5 years. It should be good for about 4 or 5 years because the bugs are dead. There's nothing living in it anymore. If you want it to last longer than that, then you get one of these white food container tubs. It's like 5 gallons at Walmart for, I think, $4. That'll hold about 30 pounds of rice. You get some oxygen absorbers, which you can get on Amazon for a few cents a piece. Throw a half a dozen in there in the top, and then seal it up. And that should last you about 10 or 15 years. Now, here's the thing. This is what I tell people about if you're going to stockpile things like beans and rice. Do all that stuff. You know, you don't have to put beans in the freezer, but put them in the freezer for 10 days. Take them out. After a couple of years, if you want to, you know, trade them in, then go down to your local food bank and donate them. Get a receipt. It's a tax write-off. And then go buy more. That's it. That's simple. Vacuum packing rice. Well, it would work, yeah, but only after freezing it. Because even if you vacuum pack it, there's still stuff in there. As gross as that sounds. This cracks me up. Okay. Well, I'm glad we could be of service. You're welcome. Why would you want to hoard food? Well, you don't want to hoard food. You want to make sure that you've got enough so the next time the grid gets, total ass kicking like it did in Texas, you're not one of the people who dies like all of those people in Texas. I mean, there are people dying right now all around the world because of natural events, because of flooding, because of hurricanes, because of no tornadoes, but because of cold weather, because of hot weather. I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you have just a little extra food around just in case? Just seems stupid to not be prepared. I mean, if you're single, and you are just have cats, that's cool. Just get a bunch of cat food and, your cats won't eat you while you're sleeping if they're hungry. However, yeah, that's okay. Hoard, whatever. I knew what you were saying. But, the reality is if you have children, then it's insanely irresponsible to not have enough food to keep your children alive if the system fails you. And how could the system fail you? There's 100 different ways, literally 100 different ways. But the three main ones are A, what this guy just said right here. Hold on. Chuck. Yep, Chuck's on it. EMP. Well, it will happen. I mean, there's no question EMP will happen. It's just a matter of, will it be a foreign adversary that lights off an EMP at 300,000 kilometers, or 3,300, kilometers above Earth and knocks out our entire electrical grid? Or will it be the sun? Because the sun is definitely making a run for it. The sun definitely wants to knock out the grid. We had what was it? KP4 index storm the other day after that solar flare. And there was a small coronal mass ejection, and it still lit up the entire sky with auroras. And that should not happen. However, because the poles are shifting, because North Pole and South Pole are swapping ends right now, our Earth's magnetic shield is at the weakest it's been in about 12,000 years. And it's getting weaker by the year. So don't forget your own government. Well, yeah, there's always that. I mean, I don't want to go that far because it's just, at that point, it's total chaos. Supernova. I don't think we're worried about, I'm not terribly concerned about our star going supernova. A micronova, yeah. And, 10 years ago when I talked to NASA, they literally laughed in my face because they said there's no such thing as a micronova. They literally told me that in Washington, D.C. And I said, you're not aware of micronovas. And they said, we're not aware of micronovas because there's no such thing. Well, in the last 10 years, there have been probably 120 different papers from different universities all around the world. China, Russia, Turkey, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, the United States, Great Britain, Germany, who have all written papers talking about the fact that, hey, look, stars actually have something called a micronova. I knew that 10 years ago. The evidence showed it. Now, a Chevy nova is very different than a micronova, because a Chevy nova means you're cool. A micronova means you're going to get cooked. It's different. Let's see. Nuclear war. Yeah, well, there's that. Like tuna and fish proteins are the most important veggies. What? No, wait. Like tuna or fish proteins are the most important veggies, but some get overboard. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Gamma rays. Gamma rays are not fun. Gamma rays are not something that you want to fuck around with, because gamma rays actually do split up your DNA. They will break down your DNA. Now, some people might say that breaking down your DNA is how evolution works, because evolution doesn't seem to be the process exactly that we thought it was. So I'm going to plug in my phone because it just said the battery's dying. So let me plug that in while I try to make you guys nauseous by shaking it. Sorry. There. Perfect. Yes, I am in the desert. Thank you for noticing. How did you know, though? It's very clever of you. You're a clever one there, Miss Don't Hoard. Actually, I guess you didn't say don't hoard. You said, why would you hoard? And I think I gave you a pretty good answer. Not bad. Let's see. Families. Okay, hold on. Let's back that up. Cactus behind you, bro. Oh, yeah. Duh. Okay. Osiri and Breaksphere families run the world. Well, that's a hell of a. Oh. There we go. That's better. That's better. All right. So, going to the bunker in Denver with Hillary. I got kicked out of TikTok for making a joke about being stranded on a desert island with Hillary. So I'm not going to touch that, except to say that there are fates that are worse than death. Chew on that for a while. Oh, 8 new messages. Oh, shit. It's actually telling me that I fucked up. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, TikTok. Timing chain broke. I junked it. Well, that's too bad. Our human residents will too. Okay, don't know what that means. What happens when when the poles shift? That's a very good question. I just want you to know that nobody knows the answer to that yet. We're working on it. When I say we, a really good friend of mine, Ben, who runs Suspicious Observers on YouTube, who is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. He and Jean-Pierre Robitaille, who's a applied physics professor at Indiana University, are really good friends of mine. And man, I got to tell you, nobody really understands. We know this. We know that when the poles shift, they're the magnetic poles. We do know that they do shift. They've shifted several dozen times in the last couple million years, and we can tell from lava, from the iron pieces in lava that have actually changed direction, their magnetic direction, before they were frozen into the lava. So we can see that they're pointing in the wrong direction, which means the North and South Pole were reversed at that point, and you go deeper in the lava, etc. So we figured all that out. But what we don't know, and this is where all of this ancient alien shit comes into play, although I don't believe it's ancient aliens. I think it's ancient humans. Sorry, ancient alien lovers. But it looks like there's a chance that when the poles shift, it doesn't just change the way your toilet flushes or the way your sink drains, but it also actually may change the way that the core is oriented, which could cause the crust to reorient, which we call crustal displacement, which is as catastrophic as it gets. Because if you've ever had a tub full of water and tried to slide it and it sloshes back and forth, imagine the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans doing exactly that over all of North America and all of Europe. That sucks. And big parts of Africa and Australia. And it doesn't really matter about China, because if the poles do reverse and they go in the direction it looks like they're going, and of course this is just pure fucking, where did I get the cactus? I'm in Arizona. They're everywhere. What a silly question. You silly woman. Annie. Where do you find cactus in Arizona? Actually, I think I got that at Ross or someplace. One of those. Nobody wants it, so you can have it. Tinfoil hat. Gotta save the tinfoil hat. Oh, there. I do like to hit some of those discount places once in a while, because what happens is, I'll give you an example. I got one of those Nike all-weather gear polar jackets that is good to like 35 below zero. And it goes all the way to your knees, and it's got the big fur around, and you seal it up. It's like this, and you can just barely see out of it. Looks like a South Park episode. And normally it's like $700, and I got it for $50 because it was so enormous that nobody wanted the damn thing. It literally looked like a carport made of cloth. So nobody wanted it, and a parka, exactly, like a real legit parka. And I got it for $50 instead of 700 because I'm huge. Sometimes being huge pays off. Not when you're shopping for shoes. You just walk into the shoe store and you say, hey, what do you got in a size 16? And they go, oh, actually, this just happened. Nothing. No, I think we actually have one pair. And I said, really? What do you got? And he goes, these work shoes over here. And I said, cool. Well, why do you have size 16? And he goes, oh, somebody special ordered them and then never picked them up. I said, okay, cool. How much? He goes, well, they were 200, but I think they're $10 now. They're on the clearance. And I said, okay. I don't really need work shoes, but I'll take them. No, I'm a little over 16. Are you a 16? Like size shoe? Yeah. Am I 16? I know some people probably think I am. I get carded for cigarettes all the time. That's not true. I don't smoke cigarettes. So now let me clarify that, because anytime you say what I just said, everybody assumes you're a pot smoker. I'm not a pot smoker. I do not like marijuana. I don't like marijuana anything. I accidentally, a few months ago, ate a marijuana-laced cookie. Yes, I was at a friend's house, and they were making hors d'oeuvres. And they came out with crab puffs that were kind of a cookie shape. And I ate a few of them, and they were delicious. So I went in, and I saw that sitting on the tray on top of the stove was another pan of them, but they looked different. Like, I'm not exactly a picky eater. So, and it tasted a little odd. I realized, oh, this is actually a cookie. And it's kind of a gross cookie at that. Tastes sort of like hay and cookie. And the lady came in who I was visiting, her and her husband, and she goes, oh, you had one of our special cookies. And I said, I'm sorry. Does that mean what I think it means? And she goes, oh, yeah. And believe me, that's not just weed. That's our special weed that we grow. And I was like, oh, that's fucking neat. What's so special about it? She goes, oh, it's really intense. And I thought, well, this is going to suck ass for the next 8 hours. Let's see. Why don't you be the guy that had them order it, then come back and at a discount? Now that would just be dishonest. That's like using something and then returning it because you only needed it for that one night. Not that there's anything wrong with that if that's your thing, but it's not my thing. Did you get high? Yeah, it was a shitstorm. I said, okay, well, I just ate that. How long before that kicks in? And she said, oh, it's probably going to be another 15 minutes. And I said, okay, I have to go. And I jumped on my motorcycle and rode home. Luckily, I'm very close. And I got off the bike and I walked into my kitchen, sat down on my bar stool and said, okay, it's been about, oh, shit. And everything just got weird. Well, I just got restricted. I got restricted for talking about this. Yes, I'm 6'7". Yeah, so I decided, okay, you know what? This does not feel good. I'm going to go lay down. And I got up to try to walk into the bedroom, and I literally had to use my hands to steady myself walking down the hallway. And I got into bed and I thought, all right, I'll go to sleep. I'll just go to sleep and I'll wake up tomorrow and this will all be over. No, I had the dumbest, most useless, pointless fucking dreams I've ever had in my life. And I don't think I slept all night, but I still had dreams. I remember at one point I was looking at a bolt and I thought to myself, okay, got to remove the bolt. And I reached behind me and I grabbed a pickle and I looked at the pickle and I thought, well, shit, this isn't going to do any good. All right, well, this whole fucking dream's shot. And I threw the pickle and then I woke up. This is not how I want to spend my day. Like, I get it. Some people love it. But you know what? Not my thing. What do I love most? This. Like, right now. Just being sober. Yeah, it was a fucking pickle. I was going to try and remove a 3/4 inch bolt with a pickle. Yes, they're monitoring the minions. Yeah, well, I do remember a lot of dreams. That's the weird part. A lot of my dreams, and some of them are absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I was in a pickle that night. That's a fact. It was very representative. Never had a pickle dream. I'm sorry. That sucks. Moon Monster. There's always tomorrow, bro. Yeah, I do remember a lot of my dreams, and some of them are quite insane, and some of them are totally like. I remember one dream I had. I was walking down the street, and I was looking at the people. I was walking down the middle of the street, no cars, and it was like Brooklyn, brownstones on each side of the street. And I was watching people, and they were all running around, acting all scared and crazy and yelling. And I thought, what do I think about silver? If it were a girl, I'd marry it. I love silver with all my heart. That's why I got tons of it laying around. Well, not tons of it. God, can you imagine having tons of it? Anyway, yeah. So I thought, what the hell is everybody so scared about? And then I looked up, and just literally like Independence Day, there's this enormous, huge UFO over my head, the size of a city. And I looked up, and the first thing that went through my mind, swear to God, no exaggeration, first thing that went through my mind was, oh, fuck, these poor idiots. They have no idea. This is my planet. They're fucking with the wrong guy. Oh, well, I'm going to have to kill them. If they're going to invade, I'm going to have to kill them. And I remember I had a smile on my face. I started jogging down the street towards my house. I have no idea what I was going to go get, like what kind of weapon I was going to use to destroy this enormous spacecraft above my head. But I was absolutely confident that these guys just screwed up, man. They stepped on their tiny little alien wieners bad on this deal. I woke up and I called a buddy of mine. And I was like, man, talk about a crazy dream. And he goes, really? And I said, yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. And he goes, how many times in your life have people told you, oh, that can't be done? And then you went and did it. I was like, yeah, I kind of love that. And he was like, yeah, you've been doing that your whole life, dude. Not only do you love to take on the man and then like fight the powers that be, but like that's totally your thing. I went, I guess you're right. So it was a happy dream. Yeah. What do you think about Star Train? The Star Train. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what. Well, that was kind of my thinking in the dream was I'm going to have to kill him. I don't want to have to kill him, especially since it's like a bunch of them. But what do you do? Oh, Starlink. I think Starlink is absolutely awesome. I think it's a really cool deal. I think it's going to be gone soon, unfortunately for Starlink. Yeah, I think that Starlink is destined to be zapped by yeah, don't say the K word. Oh, right. That's right. Yeah, when we had our August 5th, we had a big solar storm, and Elon Musk said it was by far the greatest challenge that they had faced so far, and Starlink went down for several hours. That was nothing. That was nothing. That was a tiny solar storm. We've had solar storms in the last couple hundred years that were 15, 20 times that size. What happens when we get an X40 solar flare? Bye-bye Starlink. I don't understand it. I know that I tend to believe that Elon Musk is one of the brightest people in the world based on what he's accomplished. So why is he doing it? I don't know. I can't imagine. I can't imagine what is going on in that dude's head. But whatever it is, he's putting them up there. So why? I don't know. Yeah, I do believe that we're lucky to have a guy like Elon Musk, because the reality is that, doesn't matter what side you're on. And, obviously there's like two extremes in this country. And then there's everybody in the middle, which is about 75% of the country. But, the things that he's done to be his age and to accomplish all he's accomplished is stunning. It really is. Let's see. Oh, he's definitely going to make money on it. I'm sure that he'll make it profitable. I just don't see the value in satellites anymore, not knowing what we know. Everything he does is amazing. His cars are amazing. His rockets are amazing. I mean, he's done so many things that NASA said were impossible because they were dealing with big defense contractors that were fat and lazy and not necessarily stupid, but the way that they performed was stupid. They performed stupidly. Even though they had some of the greatest engineers in the world, those engineers were probably just as frustrated as everybody else. And that's the thing about innovation. When you stifle free speech, you stifle innovation too. And that's just the way it is. Like if you can't say what's on your mind, then what? And that's out there that have gotten the toilet, because the rich people, in a lot of cases, the industrialists especially, are guys who get shit done. I did and got arrested. I'm not sure what the first part of that was, but it must have been interesting. Was a moon landing faked? I don't know, man. Here's the thing. It really boils down to this. We don't know if somebody can survive the Van Allen radiation belt. But according to NASA, the reason that they haven't launched the Orion deep space is because they need to protect it better from the radiation of the Van Allen radiation belts. What? You haven't figured out how to protect astronauts from radiation? How did you do it in 1967, 68, 69, 70, 71, and 72? Because 1972 was the last time we went to the moon. I'm sorry, but how did those astronauts survive then? The Van Allen radiation belt kills people, period. We all know that. We've all discussed it. That's it. Aluminum foil. Because that's what their capsules were made out of. And don't say that. Could you be a little less specific for me there, big boy? I'd really appreciate that. Wrap some tin foil around the lander and get her done. Okay. All right. So what you're saying is, as long as I don my tinfoil hat, I can go to space. All right. I like it. I see where you're going. Tinfoil Stetson will be the first cowboy in space. My dad told me when I was a kid, he always said, you can do anything any other person can do. Every man puts his pants on one leg at a time. Now, for those of you who are not men, I apologize. My father was a misogynist pig. No, he wasn't. He was just old-fashioned, and that's just the way dudes talked back then. But my point is that he said, you can do anything any other man can do. And I said, okay, I want to be an astronaut. He said, yeah, that's not going to happen. And I said, okay, you just literally just now said I could do anything, Dad. And he goes, don't be stupid. Okay, well, luckily the conversation didn't end there. And I said, well, why couldn't I be an astronaut? And he said, son, your mom's 5'10", I'm 6'4". You're probably going to be bigger than I am, which turned out to be true. And he said, if that's the case, you won't fit in a capsule. Not only that, but just going by the physics of it, considering how many hundreds of thousands of dollars it takes to lift each pound into orbit, would they rather lift one really smart guy or two really smart guys that are half your size? I said, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And he said, okay, so astronauts out. And I said, okay. He said, what else? And I said, fighter pilot. He said, yeah, that's not going to happen either. Okay, that's my dream. And then my backup dream down the shitter in about 3 minutes. So he said, pick something else. And I said, all right, I want to be a ballerina. That actually got a pretty good laugh out of him. So anyway, all right, enough of the tinfoil hat stuff. Let's talk about reality. Yes, I was a Marine. I don't think you met a man. Well, you got to get out more. Big and Corn-Fed is the YouTube channel he has. And still on YouTube when TikTok kicked. That's right. You should have said jockey. Dude, that's not funny. I don't like riding horses. I feel bad. Semper Fi, brother. I feel bad riding horses, man, especially these little nags that they use for the kids, you know, and they're like, oh, Daddy, come with me, come on the ride. And I'm like, oh, honey bun, you know, it's a 900-pound horse, and Daddy's a 300-pound horse too, and that's not right. You see them with their sway backs, and you're like, oh, no, I can't ride that. I did ask a guy once. I said, hey, man, you wouldn't happen to have any draft horses? And he said, we got a Clydesdale. I said, you got a Clydesdale? And he said, yeah, we got a big ass Clydesdale. And I said, can I ride him? He said, if you want to. And they saddle that some bitch up. And I'll tell you what, draft horses are hard because when you pull, they do not have soft mouths. They're used to having a big bit and lots of gear on them and shit. So you got to really kind of give them a tug to get, you want to go right. All right, let's do it. But if I could have any horse, I would say either a really good size athletic Clydesdale or a Belgian draft horse. That would be fun. That would be a blast. A 300-pound man sitting on top of a 2,000-pound horse. Yeah. Then all I need is a big battle axe and a shield and some leather. Not too much leather. Got to show off the goods. Palominos are cute. If I couldn't lift one, I'd probably ride one, but they're just tiny. I mean, they're great horses. I got one for my daughter, and one blue eye. Oh, she loved that. Wait, both blue eyes? No, one blue eye. Yeah, very, very pretty horse. Sweet little Palomino. She's a good girl. She got hurt. I forget what happened to her fetlock, but we decided that we were not going to let her go to anybody who was going to mistreat her. So I found a place in Kentucky where they take in horses, and it is basically, it's Valhalla for horses. They just get to go out and eat lots of grass and screw around all day. I wouldn't own an Arabian if you paid me. I've been around way too many Arabians. Flighty dipshits. Yeah, they can run, but will they stop? No. Quarter horses are the best horses in the world. They're probably the smartest horses in the world. That doesn't mean that they're 1/10 as smart as a donkey, or a mule. Same thing, without the junk. But their quarter horses are some sharp dudes and gals. All right, let's see here. What's going on in the world? The Secret Service is investigating Elon Musk over a Twitter joke. Hey, why do you pay taxes? That's why. Let's see. Neocon congressman runs away when asked if he'll debate Dennis Kucinich. I like Dennis Kucinich. I know, you're thinking, wait a minute. Why would you like Dennis Kucinich? Because he's honest. Let's see. Ohio Congressman Max Miller was confronted by a journalist asking whether he would debate his congressional challenger and his district's predecessor, Dennis Kucinich. Interesting. I doubt very seriously he would do that, because we call that a zero-sum game where you can't win. Rashida Tlaib puts a Palestinian flag outside of her office. Well, I guess you can serve two masters. Maybe. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy world out there, isn't it? All right, well, that's an interesting one, but that really doesn't impact us. Stocks rallied and S&P posted new record high after the Fed rate cut, which proves beyond any doubt that they really screwed the pooch on this. Inflation hasn't changed in, core inflation has stayed the same, and it's actually going up. And they just cut interest, which means core inflation will go up much faster now. For those of you who have lost your jobs in this horrific jobs economy, get ready, because even though you don't have a job, everything's about to get a lot more expensive. Thank you, government. Hello, everyone. Hello, Linda. Let's see. FedEx crashes after missing across the board. Weaker demand. Okay. Let's see. Can Harris's cynical run out the clock campaign succeed? Well, it kind of worked for Biden. Why wouldn't it work here? Let's see. Oh, boy. Oh. Well, that's interesting. The House passes a bill to deport illegal immigrants convicted of, what kind of offenses? SA. Well, now that's interesting. That is very interesting. So there has to be a special bill to deport people who commit that kind of assault, and or the grape word without the G. Is that really what I'm seeing here? What? Call me naive, but I thought we would just deport those folks anyway because they're bad people. Everything is about to get more expensive. Sorry, Linda. That's the reality. We haven't conquered inflation with all of this massive rate hikes, and then they just started cutting rates. And it's like, okay, well, wait, the reason you hike rates is so that you can slow down the economy and slow down the inflation. And that didn't work. So now you're going to cut rates. And then what? Well, the worst case scenario, and this is what I fear, is that there will be a melt up. And a melt up is so much worse than a meltdown that you can't believe it. It's a melt up is the most dangerous thing. Oh, they cut it by 50 basis points. Biggest cut since COVID. Yeah. Sorry, I meant everything. Exactly. We have a group of people in control right now that are completely unconcerned with what is best for us, the American people. I could fix all of this just like they can in what would take me. It would take me about 3 days by doing 3 things. You could completely four things. You could completely and utterly fix the entire economy. A melt up is where you have a situation, and this just happened in Venezuela. And you see what a completely failed state Venezuela is, based on the fact that every single one of their zoos is completely devoid of animals because they've all been eaten. Not a joke, totally verifiable. Look it up if you think I made that stat up. In Venezuela, they had the same exact issue, and inflation took off. And because of that, even though the housing prices were insanely high, they shot up because of inflation. And whenever you have runaway inflation, any kind of goods, like durable goods and or commodities like housing or wheat or beef or anything else, they skyrocket in price. Well, what that means is that even though right now we are at an all-time high on real estate, and the real estate is completely unaffordable, number one, because of interest rates, but number two, because of just the sheer prices compared to what the average worker in this country makes. Let me take a little break here and explain. Back in like 1970, it was about 4 times your average yearly income to pay off a house. So what you made in 4 years as an individual would buy you a house. What you made as a combined family was even more. So now the average income in the United States is debatable, but it's about $35,000, according to the Federal Reserve themselves. I looked it up. The Fed of St. Louis keeps all of this shit on record, and I looked it up. And from 2000, when it was 30,000, it's gone to 34,000 last year, and some say even 35,000 this year. It's gone up by $5,000 over a quarter of a century. However, housing has gone from 180,000 for a house in 2000 to now 420,000. So if we assume that the average real individual income is 35,000 and a house is now 420,000, that's not 4 years salary anymore. That's not what you make in 4 years. That's not what you make in 10 years. That's not what you make in 12 years. See the problem? So housing is already completely unaffordable for the average person. If there is massive runaway inflation, which it looks like there will be now because they're talking about a full 0.2 point cut over the next year. If that's the case, inflation will skyrocket. The price of housing will skyrocket with it. And then you will have a situation, and by the way, stocks will also skyrocket in that, if that's the case. And what you'll have is you'll have a situation where, the S&P won't be at 5,000. The S&P will be at 50,000. Houses won't be at 420. They'll be at 900. And they'll be completely and utterly unaffordable, because even at 4%, what average worker can afford to buy a $900,000 home? You can't, period. So even though the interest rates will come down, the price of the homes will skyrocket to the point where only the wealthy will have homes, period. That's it. And that is the worst case scenario, because if we go into stagflation, which is, by the way, not just my opinion. I mean, I've been calling stagflation for almost a year. I was calling for a recession 2 years ago, and I believe we're in one. But I've been calling for stagflation for a year. Well, guess what? Jamie Dimon, who is obviously the CEO of the largest bank in the world, JP Morgan, just said that he does not think we're heading for a recession. He thinks we're heading for something much, much worse, stagflation. He said that last week. Now, granted, I said it a year ago, but my job is to try to prognosticate. And if I'm wrong, sometimes I'm wrong. Bottom line is, I have a very sort of asymmetrical risk situation, because I'm in silver. So if I'm wrong, you still keep up with inflation. Your money is safe, safer than any other thing you can possibly buy on planet Earth. And you make a little money. You keep up with inflation. If I'm absolutely right, you actually not only keep up with inflation, but you make a ton of money as well. Where's the risk? There is none. That's why people say, and when I say people, I used to be a stockbroker. I did investment banking. I did all kinds of crazy shit. I did mergers, some venture capital. I just hated the people. I absolutely hate the people on Wall Street. They're nothing more than blood-sucking leeches, and they don't care about how much they make you. They only care about how much they make themselves, period. It's all they care about. And because of that, and when I know it's a massive general, you're like, oh, you're stereotyping a huge group of people. About 750,000 registered reps in the United States right now. And yes, I am stereotyping them, because they're all crap. And if you can find one out of every 10,000 that's redeemable in some fashion, well, God bless you. Those are not great odds. When you go to Vegas and you're playing blackjack, you don't hit on 16 because of the odds. When you're trying to make money for yourself and you go to, I don't know, name one. It doesn't really matter who you go through. Merrill Lynch. You're dealing with a narcissistic turd who only cares about what kind of car he's driving. That's it. What the other guys in the office think of him as a closer. That's it. They could care less about you. Truly. I was in that environment for as long as I could stand, and then I just quit. And everybody told me, dude, you're one of the best guys we've got. You should not quit. And I said, yeah, but I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. Because there were deals that we did that just, I mean, we did a partnership. It was $12,000, $12,500. And that got you one unit in the partnership. The partnership then backed into a public shell, which was a penny stock at the time. And so for each $12,500, you received 100,000 shares of stock at 12.5 cents. The day it went public, it went to $1.25, or the day that we rolled it out we released it, it went to $1.25. And I had people calling me crying because they were so happy. And I said, you know what? This is day one. You might want to hang on to it for a little while. Well, 9 months later, a company somewhere in the Midwest called Heartland Corporation saw their assets and said, hey, we could really benefit from that company. And they bought them for $12.50 per share. Yeah. those people think I'm a superhero. Literally, it's like Thor, Martin Grant. But the reality is that, that deal looked great. It looked like a great deal. There were a couple of others that I did. One that had to do with using the laser tracking system from the Star Wars project. It had Edward Teller, physicist, the guy who helped invent the A-bomb. Yeah, that guy. Edward Teller was on the board. Jose Barraquer of the Barraquer Eye Institute in Bogota, Colombia, the world's leading eye surgery place for corneal surgery, for corrective surgery. He was on the board. He absolutely loved this system. And basically what it was a system that, using the same technology as the Star Wars, it would actually track your eye while it did surgery, laser surgery, radial keratotomy. What? We're going to use Star Wars technology on like the SDI Defense Initiative to shoot down missiles with a laser. That's some pretty advanced shit, man. Oh yeah, this is good. We're going to make a ton of money on this. No. It was a total piece of shit. Why? I couldn't tell you what went wrong inside the corporation because I don't know. That's not information that they give us. We just knew that it looked great on paper. And I had a guy call me and he goes, "Damn, man, it's too bad about that." I'll never forget. The guy lived in Missouri. And I said, "Yeah, I'm just not really wrapping my head around what the fuck went wrong with this deal." And he goes, "Yeah, it sucks, man. I guess I probably shouldn't have put all my money into it." And I said, "Wait, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, that was basically everything I had in the world." And I said, "But wait a minute, you told me that you were putting in $100,000 and that you were an accredited investor. And we talked about that. That means $1.5 million net worth, or over $250,000 of income for the last 2 years consecutively." And he said, yeah, I know. I said that. And I said, "But you said that to my verification department. Like, they verified that you were an accredited investor." He goes, "Oh yeah, the people who tape record me." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, yeah. I mean, dude, did you hear, like, when you told me about it, it sounded so good." And I just thought, well, shit, man, why not take my entire inheritance and throw it into this deal? Holy shit. Guy was a fucking security guard. He didn't make anything. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in some shitty part of St. Louis, Missouri. He got $100,000 when his mom died, and he put it all into this deal because I made it sound so great. That's when I quit, because I just thought, man, I mean, there was about a 3-month lag there where I drank a lot instead, but that really haunted me. I went home and I talked to my buddies about it, and guys I worked with. We'd go out and have drinks, and I'd get pretty shit-faced, and I'd go, yeah, we really don't, like, we don't do as much research into these deals as we could. And they're like, "Dude, we're not research. That's not what we do. We're the pointy end of the spear, bro. We go out and we find the money. We find the whales, and that's what we do." I was like, "Yeah, but fuck, man. Like, how do we know that these deals we're doing are legit?" And they're like, "No, they're totally legal." And I was like, no, not illegal. Like, how do we know that they're going to work? And they all said the same thing. "Dude, that's not our problem. That's not what we do. That's a different department." And I thought, nah, I can't do this, because I know that there's two options when you lose money in the market. And this is the truth. When the guy is in the backyard and he's barbecuing, and his wife says, "Yeah, we're going to have to keep working. We were going to retire, but, my husband invested in this thing and it didn't work out." Well, he's got two options at that point. He can say, "Yeah, I broke down the numbers. I looked at it really thoroughly, and man, I fucked up." Or And this is what my manager explained to me. Or he can keep flipping those burgers and go, yeah, man, that fucking stockbroker, that slick son of a bitch, he made it sound like it was bulletproof. I mean, he really convinced me. That guy was good. Fucking shyster. And I said, well, either way, he loses his money. And he goes, yeah, but if you're really good at your job, it's your fault. And his wife will still sleep with him. But if it's his fault, she's going to hold that against him for the rest of his life. And basically what people want is they want you to take the responsibility away from them. Make the decision for them. And I was like, make the decision for them. Okay. Well, I still do. There's only one difference. I spent 8 years being broke, eating top ramen and studying econ, studying the market, investing my own money in swing trading, doing all kinds of day trading, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, you name it. Losing my own hard-earned money, winning my own hard-earned money. And finally, after 8 years of studying, I started to see the big picture. And once I started to see the big picture, I was like, okay, now I get it. So now when I tell somebody something like buy silver, I'm telling them, I'm not asking, I'm saying if you have money, you buy silver with it. If you don't, what happens next is not my fault. But it could go either way at this point. Like literally the market could completely come unhinged like it did in 2008, or it could melt up. And if it melts up, it's going to be a hell of a run for a little while, but then the crash will be so significant that it will take us at least 10 years to come back from. And I'm not really sure that we would have that option, because if it crashes that hard, as completely and totally split as this country is right now and divided, that might lead to something much, much uglier, if you know what I mean. Something that hasn't happened here since the 1860s and nobody wants to see happen again. Like what they're praying for. You know, that's the problem. Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I don't know how these other guys didn't live with a conscience. You know, I don't understand it. I really don't. I can't figure out how you can, although I guess, look, if you're a risk taker and you're willing to roll the dice, and you believe that your job is to roll the dice for other people and that they don't have the guts to do it themselves, so it's really your job to do it for them, and you're willing to do it even if they're scared, then maybe you can live with that. I had someone in a community that's known for being liars, cheats, and thieves, and I won't name the community or I'll get banned probably forever. But there is a group of people who have been sort of labeled, especially in Europe, as liars and cheats and thieves, and nobody seems to trust them. And I asked a guy, when I found out that this was his nationality, I suppose you could call it, I said, does that bother you? And he said, no, not at all. And I said, it doesn't bother you to be considered a thief? And he said, no, I am a thief. And I said, really? And he said, absolutely. And anybody that I steal from should thank me. And I said, wait a minute. Anybody that you steal from should thank you? Are you kidding? And he goes, no, I'm totally serious. He said, look, if I steal something from you, did it kill you? And I said, no, it doesn't kill you. I mean, it might hurt you financially. And he goes, exactly. It's going to piss you off. It's going to make you smarter. It's going to make you more clever. You can stop being so damn naive that you left your doors unlocked or whatever the case is. And I said, yeah. And he goes, so I made you a more responsible, better person, better protecting your family, better protecting yourself. I took a little of that naivete away from you by stealing that thing, whatever it is. And I said, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. And he goes, no, that is the way we look at it. And I went, holy shit. I'm going to steal from you because I want to make you a better person. That's literally, that he said. And I, I don't generalize. I don't like to lump everybody together. I've known people from every walk of life, every race, all around the world. I was in the Marine Corps, and some of the now I will say this. Okay, I am a little biased, just a wee bit. I do love Mexicans. Yes, I do have good news. Mexicans. That's my good news. I love Mexicans. In the Marine Corps, some of the toughest, meanest, best bastards you could ever hope for. In MMA, which I've done for many, many years, Mexicans are legendary for their absolute zero quit mentality. I have worked construction, and that sort of lazy Mexican thing that went around in like maybe the 70s or 80s, total horse shit. Hardest working sons of bitches I've ever met in my life. Far as their belief systems, they love God, they love their families. Mi familia is number one most important thing in the world. They love a good beer, they love a good barbecue, they love soccer. That's one thing I don't share with them. I could care less about soccer, but you see these big Mexican families in the park on a Saturday, and they're having a big picnic. Wait, I thought that was what white people did. Yeah, back in the 50s, but they still do it. They still take a big old picnic basket and they go out there. Sometimes because they live in an apartment, they want their kids to just go and run around all day and get burnt out like they should. Whatever the reason, I see that and I think to myself, these people are the perfect Americans. They're like Canadians. Mexicans, out of the three, we're the least American of Americas. And that is sad to me. Not redheaded women. How'd you know I had a soft spot in my head for redheads? Well, I like pain. That's all. They want to help. Well, they more than want to help. They do help. We just need to recognize it. And by the way, China right now is losing population at a rate that's almost stunning. I believe they're down to 1.6 children per couple. You need 2.1 children per couple as an average to stay at the same population. Their population is collapsing so fast right now that within 20 years, they will have no one left below the age of 50 to take care of all of the people over 60. And they just announced that their retirement age has to go from 50. Yeah, I know, our retirement age is 67. Theirs was 50 until this week, and they finally bumped it up. But they don't respect them. They don't respect them. Chuck, be less specific next time. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, my buddy just got back from 2 months in Vietnam, and he was just blown away by how amazing those folks are, too. Kind of getting a picture that maybe there's lots of cool people in the world. We just need to stop looking at the assholes and start looking at all the cool people in the world. Maybe even make friends with them. Maybe spread some of the wealth to them. Now, I'm not saying Ukrainians aren't nice people, but damn, $250 billion. I would even go so far as to say that's favoritism. Like that's a lot of being friendly right there. Maybe spread that wealth around a little bit. the number one most thing in phrase in Vietnam is no problem, no problem. And when they say no problem, they mean it. Like these folks could build a Mars mission out of bamboo and make it work. It's crazy. No, absolutely. I agree with you, Annie. You know what? You're absolutely right, Annie. Ted heads are not hot tempered, but redheads are completely insane. I have redheaded children. You know why? Because we have more Neanderthal DNA than you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be a brunette. See, brunettes are humans, and I like humans. Humans are fun. Sometimes they're more fun than others, even. But my point is that if you have red hair, it means you have more Neanderthal DNA than the average human. Crazy, right? 20 years working with Mexicans on roofs. See, now there's Jesus. Yeah. 20 years of working on roofs. Man, I would have made it 1 week out here in Phoenix. I am not built for heat. Redhead here can confirm insanity. Thank you. A redheaded Swede. That's got to be weird, Paul. Swedes are they're sweet people, but they're like, from what I know of them, if you were walking down the street in some small town in Sweden and you saw a friend and you yelled to him across the street, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" He'd be horrified. Oh my God, why are you embarrassing me like that? Very quiet, conservative. Like if you ask the average person, like, "Hey, how you doing today?" He'd be like, "Do I know you? Why would you ask me that?" So to go from being very mild-mannered, very conservative, very nice people to being a redhead, clearly you're a Viking. I laugh because you know that's true. That's got to be very strange to be completely insane and Swedish. So, if you said you're Norwegian, well, we all know Norwegians are lunatics. We're all lunatics. We're like the rednecks of Europe. Yeah, we're crazy. Now, in is mixed a little bit of Polak, and we all know about the Polish too. Very, very crazy people. In a different way, though. Some Poles are a little more outspoken, but mostly quiet. 45 years working with Mexicans in the concrete. Woo! Yeah, you like that? Next to Europe. It's true, man. Norwegians are. Oh wait, Oh, okay. It's Amanda. I thought it was Amundsen. I was going to say Amundsen. Oh shit, that's Norwegian. Like you're one of them. One of us. Anyway, yeah, 45 years of working with Mexicans in the concrete construction business. And I would imagine that if they were lazy and they just wanted to siesta all day and drink beer and fuck off, you wouldn't have worked with them for 45 years. They're hardworking motherfuckers. That's a fact. And they fight way above their weight class. I can tell you, having been punched in the face a few times by guys half my size, that it's fun. And they have no quit. They have no quit in them. I'm telling you, they could be our number one trading partner for the next 50 years. They're much closer than China. They're much more educated than the average Chinese factory worker. Most of them speak at least a little bit of English. 45, 50% of them within 200 miles of the U.S. border speak English fluently. I mean, my God, these are perfect. And their population is exploding. Their triangle looks like this. China's looks like this. Little tiny group of people being born at the bottom that have to support this enormous amount of seniors. That doesn't work. It cannot work. They don't have a social system like Social Security. As shitty as Social Security is, can you survive on $800 a month? Well, if you have 4 roommates, yeah, you can. And yeah, okay, so it's like college again. That's not fun, but so what? You can survive. In China, there is no social net except your family. Well, if you have 600 million senior citizens and 100 million people under the age of 30, you're screwed. Those people have nowhere to go. They will starve to death, and that's coming in the next 20 years. So that's also true. What is it? You know what? I just want to say, Mexico, sorry, we love you. Come give us a hug. And bring some of the tequila with you. The stuff with the worm in the bottom. It's good stuff. Just saying. I don't drink much, but when I do. Oh, come here. It's tequila. Now, I couldn't drink tequila when I was in my 20s because every time I did, I had an allergic reaction. I'd break out in handcuffs behind my back. It was weird. So I didn't drink tequila for many, 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 many years until I grew up a bit, say about 50 years old. And then finally, it was about 20 years that I didn't drink. And then finally, when I decided maybe I'm grown up enough, I can handle this, I had beer, and boy, did I feel shitty. And after 4 beers, I would wake up with a raging headache. So I thought, well, you know what? I'll just have myself a margarita. And that worked. Now, I still don't drink much because getting a buzz is fun, but keeping it for more than about a half an hour sucks. So it causes all kinds of health issues. Yeah. Divorce. All kinds of stuff. Drunk in public. Exhibition of speed. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff it causes. Oh yeah, and also cirrhosis of the liver. But guess what? That's why God made it so that your liver can regrow. Your kidneys? No. You fuck your kidneys up, they're done. You're on dialysis. It's horrible. However, you could cut half of your liver out, and a year later, it would be a full liver again. Is that proof that God wants us to drink? I'm going to have to think about this. I'm going to have to pray on this one, folks. Dangerous moonshine is, I'll tell you how dangerous it is. You can put shit like apple flavor in it, and it tastes like an apple freaking pie. You can put, what's the other shit I had? Oh, the most dangerous thing I've ever had in my life, the most dangerous alcohol I've ever had was some shit a guy cooked up. I know him real well. Pretty sharp cat. He cooked this shit up, and he said, hey, would you like some moonshine? And I said, is it like Everclear? And he goes, oh yeah, it's damn near 200. And I said, okay, but isn't that going to taste like gasoline? He said, I don't know. You tell me. And he broke out a jar, yes, like a Kerr mason jar, and took the lid off, and he poured a little bit in a shot glass, and he said, here, try that. And I took a shot of it. And I said, that tastes like an orange creamsicle, like an ice cream. He goes, yep. I said, I don't taste the alcohol at all. He goes, oh, trust me, brother, it's in there. And I was like, are you sure? And about 2 minutes later, I went, dude, I got a buzz. And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, how? And he goes, you just drank the equivalent of like 4 or 5 shots in that one shot. And I said, I couldn't taste the alcohol. And he goes, I know, I'm good. And I thought, this is dangerous. Like, holy shit. Can you imagine if you just poured a glass over ice? Like a highball glass. If you just poured a glass over ice and you're drinking, you'd be like, oh my God, this is the best. That would be it. You'd be gone. Crazy. But, you know, redneck got to do what a redneck got to do. That's all I'm saying. And there's a reason we call it moonshine. By the way, does everyone know why they call it a honeymoon? I'll give you a moment. It's for sipping. Who the fuck said that? Betsy, are you kidding me? Sipping? What are you, a girl? Oh, yeah, girls have common sense. No, I can't process that. I just tried really hard. I was like, no, you just sip it. If it's that strong and it tastes good, you just no. If I drink a bottle of wine, I drink a bottle of wine, and then I go get another bottle of wine. By the way, for those of you who don't know, uh, Cabernet Sauvignon. Yeah, I said it like a Frenchie. Cabernet Sauvignon is way better if it's cold. Yeah, the first time I told somebody that was a wine critic, they were like, "Oh, you did what? You chilled it?" I was like, "Yeah." That tanniny, nasty, shitty, bitter flavor, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I explained to them that I was drinking Prisoner, which is $50 a bottle, and they were like, "You don't need to chill that." And I said, "Yeah, try it." Well, guess what? Now they recommend you chill it a little. I say chill it a lot because when you drink cold Cabernet Sauvignon, yes, I make a face when I imitate the French. I'm sorry, Frenchies. It's not that I don't love you. But come on. The way you guys talk is funny, right? Anyway. Ow. I just hit my copier with my elbow. This office needs to get bigger. Actually, I'm going to build a studio pretty soon. Once I get to 100,000 people on my live stream on YouTube, which I'm still doing. I've been on for an hour and 31 minutes. What are you people doing up? This is crazy. You must be on the West Coast. That's all there is to it. Anybody on the East Coast has got to be in bed by now. It's a work night. Unless, of course, you're one of the 300 million people that are unemployed in this country, which means you're not here illegally because they all have full employment. That's not funny, but that's actually a statistic. No, it's not that exaggerated. I made that up. I did make up the 300 million unemployed, but I will say this. I do have the statistics. I actually looked it up, went through the graphs, looked at the CHED, did all that Bureau of Labor Statistics. Americans. All of the employment that has been created, we've actually lost 1.3 million jobs for native-born people. For immigrants, legal and illegal, they have gained 3.5 million jobs over the last 4.5 years. We, who were born here, have lost 1.3 million jobs over the last 4.5 years. That shit is not okay. That is not okay. Well, thank you. You're in California, John Compton. I hope you're not in Compton. Are you in Compton, John? Is that why you went with John Compton? It's not. Like, if you live in the city of Compton, I'm from Hollywood originally, baby, and I know Compton and Watts. Yeah. My first job out of the Marine Corps was working undercover security there. You heard me. Undercover security in Watts and Compton. That was fun. Whittier. No, Whittier's nice. Well, some parts of Whittier are just average, but the hills in Whittier are multi-million-dollar homes now. Whittier's beautiful, though. That's behind the orange curtain, though. We're talking L.A. County here, baby. Come on, L.A. County. And no, not as a Fed, as a private security guy working undercover. And it was fun, actually. I dressed in flip-flops, and I would wear big, baggy, brilliant shorts, like green and yellow plaid shorts. And I'd wear a tank top, and, you know, I was tan and a little prettier back then. And I'd stroll around in like stores and stuff, and I'd see a guy in an aisle that he wasn't supposed to be in, stuffing shit in his pants and his jacket, even though it was 95 degrees outside. And I'd start walking towards him, and he'd look at me, and he'd look me up and down, and then just keep going. It's like, what's up? Yes, I was 6'7" when I got out of the Marine Corps. was 6'4" when I went in. But then I went in when I was 17, so I was still growing. And sometimes if they eyeballed me for a little too long, I'd say, hey, I sound stupid, but what city are we in? They'd be like, you're in Watts, bro. Oh, shit, Watts. Wait, that's nowhere near Redondo Beach, is it? And they go, no, man, you're a long way from the beach, brother. And I'd be like, fuck, I guess I'm lost. I walk right past them as they were sticking cosmetics and shit in their pockets. And back then it was actually illegal. Now in California, you can do it. So, but back then it was actually illegal to steal products from a store. Yeah. So I remember walking up to this one guy and he was just about to the exit. And I said, hey, man, sorry, I can't let you leave. Security. And he goes, what? And I said, yeah, I'm undercover security. And he goes, nah, man, he just took off. And I thought, this is going to be fun because I literally had just gotten out of the Marine Corps. I could run 15 miles, no problem. And I don't mean jogging. Jogging is stupid. It's a waste of time. If you're going to run, run. If you're going to walk, walk. Don't do half of both. So I thought to myself, I could probably run like hard running 3 miles, just flat out running as hard as I could. And I thought to myself, oh shit, this guy has no, and he was wearing a jacket, by the way, big, heavy jacket. It's 90 degrees outside. And I thought, oh shit, this kid has absolutely no idea what's about to happen. And yeah, I chased him for about 10 blocks till he finally just stopped, put his hands on his knees and said, take the jacket, man. He took the jacket off and he just handed it to me. And I said, you know, I'm supposed to drag your ass back and call the cops, right? And he said, yeah, man, just take the jacket. And I said, look, do me a favor. Just take that shit out and give it to me. And he was like, thanks, brother. And he took it all. Just chase that was fun. Yeah. It always seemed like I tackled them straight into a parked car accident. What the hell are the odds of that? I don't know. Criminals just piss me off. The ones in Washington really piss me off. And they're the worst, you know? Guy goes to prison for having a joint back in the day. These guys are doing pounds of white powder in Washington, D.C. and having all kinds of lascivious parties. And it's like, oh, well, you know, they're politicians. It's just what they do. What? No, that's not just what they do. All right. Well, it's 10:30. I think I've been on here for 2 hours or almost. Only an hour and 38 minutes. I'm going to call it a night pretty soon, but if you want to talk about silver, I have your silver card from back in the day. That's cool. Well, if you've got a bunch of them, you want to sell them, you let me know. I do buy silver too. I don't just sell it, especially now. I'm buying because, look, if inflation takes off, the price of all goods and services will go up, but commodities will explode. So that means the price of wheat, the price of rice, the price of beef, the price of everything will go up. Okay, well, guess what? Silver is a very hot commodity, which right now several countries are trying to hoard at the same time. So do the math. And it's out of whack with gold in a huge way right now. We're looking at over 80 to 1, where it should be about 40 to 1. And that price difference will correct. Silver will come up. Gold will not come down. You will not see gold coming down to $1,500 an ounce to correct that issue. And it was just at $1,500 an ounce not too long ago. But gold is making its run right now. Must be old. That's funny. I'm not going to bed. Absolutely. Let's talk tomorrow. I plan on it. Let's see. No, it's not about going to bed. It's just about 2 hours. And let's see. I just read an article that says that they will ban holding silver and gold. Ned, you're from Israel. tell me with a straight face that you think that anybody in the Knesset has the balls to tell the entire Israeli population that they're not allowed to have one of their favorite assets? Gold, silver, and diamonds, baby. You and I both know that is something that, I mean, it's like bread and water. It's a necessity. They're not going to ban it. There's no way. I can't imagine why the government would have any problem with citizens hoarding gold and silver. That makes your citizens extremely wealthy, and that's exactly what you want. Yeah, we have been asleep at the wheel for quite a while. Unfortunately, we have been, and that's, it's just one of those things. It happens. Everything's cyclical, and when you get to the top, it's very difficult to stay at the top forever. They're banning the 200 use belt. Why? I don't understand why they would do that. Like, what would the purpose of that be? Just left the Hideaway for bike night. I started every Thursday. Well, that's cool, Andy. The Hideaway, by the way, is maybe 500 meters from my house. Maybe. I can listen. I go outside on my porch, which I'm going to do, and have a cigar, and I'm going to listen to the band at the Hideaway. How much gold is good to have? I'm not joking, every dime that you have that's in the bank should be in gold or silver. Now, I don't tell people gold if they don't have a lot of money, because gold is useless to most people in a situation where they need it most. Banning the money, that just sounds odd though. Why? I mean, shit, of all the countries, I mean, the Israeli people, and I know I'm generalizing, but come on, if you're talking about a country, you got to generalize a little bit. But that's like saying Americans are crazy. Okay, by and large, that's a true statement. We do some weird shit that other people in the world look at and go, what? Well, Israelis are not stupid. As we all know, some of the most highly educated people on planet Earth. A buddy of mine lived there for several years, a guy that I was in the Marine Corps with, who I know really well. And he was explaining to me that the people there are very different than maybe a lot of people think. And definitely call me tomorrow. They're not pro-war. I mean, after October 7th, they became very pro-war for a time. I think they're starting to tire of it now, because there's, 8-10 million people. Semper Fi, brother. I think that there's 8 to 10 million people somewhere in there now in Israel, although from what I understand, a couple of million of them have already left the country. That's a tough one. But yeah, money laundering, 9 million. Okay. I said 8 or 10. I was right. I was on either side. I bracketed that. Okay, so 9 million people. I don't know. It seems odd that they'd be. I mean, it's not like you're worried about Hamas. It's not like you're worried about Hezbollah inside of Israel laundering money. And there, as we all know, there are people in the, say, diamond business who are going to launder because they can. And nothing you're going to do about it either. You're not going to stop that. All right. Good night, man. Good night, Ray. Should I sell my uncirculated quarters now? Hold on. Definitely call me, Annie. Let's see. Should I try to sell my uncirculated quarters now and get junk silver for later? Wait, your uncirculated quarters are what years? That's what I need to know. Yeah, but it's funny though. I don't see Ned. I just don't see Israel going along with it. I mean, it just Look, the World Economic Forum, and I get it. I know that there are some very powerful people in the World Economic Forum that are Jewish, but that doesn't mean that the Jews in Israel feel the same way. They don't want to be controlled. And this is a group of people who have an enormous, like, they punch way above their weight class for 9 million people. They have enormous amounts of influence worldwide. I don't know, man. It seems odd that they'd even consider it. Like, they would even put up with it for a second. But who knows? Maybe they're too distracted by what's going on in Gaza and everything, and Hamas and all that shit. Maybe they're going to try and run it through. By the way, 63 and 64, that is 90% silver. Well, junk silver is 90% silver as well. So if you've got uncirculated, especially if they're still in rolls, my God, if you've still got rolls of uncirculated quarters, do not sell them, because you've got literally a double threat there. Instead of just having something that is worth $5 each, which those quarters are, on top of that, most importantly, you're going to have some very, very rare quarters that could be worth $30 or $40 each. Annie, I'm hurt. You hurt my feelings, Annie. I read that wrong. I was like, I thought you said, where do I find silver? Like, where do you find it? I was going to say me. I have silver. That's what I do. But where do I find it? Well, that's none of you. That's none of your business. I'm a wholesaler. I have several different, like, if you go to JM Bullion, APMEX, biggest wholesalers in the country. I'm a wholesaler for both of them. SD Bullion, Money Metals. I'm a wholesaler for all of those guys. So whatever their price is, I can beat it, because I'm a wholesaler for them. And they don't give a shit if you buy from them. They do not care. If you buy so much, I mean, they do billions in business every year. And so, they're like, hey, look, if you're only going to buy 300 ounces or 400 ounces, well, shit, that's chump change to us. So yeah, we're going to charge you $4 over spot price, because we can. And if you don't like it, get some real money, because that's the kind of people that go there. Like, all their clients are pretty much big customers. People that are calling and saying, hey, I want $3 million worth. I want $10 million worth. So those people get my price. Well, probably not my price, but they get close. But if you're just buying 5,000 ounces, that's chump change to them. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But you have to remember that we're dealing with an asset class right now that is literally the safest of all safe havens. I mean, sure, you could buy bonds. You want to buy bonds? Go ahead, buy bonds. Buy 30-year bonds at 4%. 4%? 4% a year? Really? Silver's gone up 30% in the last year, 33% in the last year. I mean, 33% in the last year. What does that tell you? A, it tells you that we're in deep shit financially, but it also tells you that nobody should be buying bonds. Yeah, I sell silver coins, silver bars. I don't recommend bars. Look, nobody likes bars. Nobody wants your bars. So if you buy 100-ounce bars to save a couple bucks, you're going to end up losing that money and then some when you try to sell them, because nobody wants them. However, if you've got 1-ounce coins or 1-ounce rounds, and there's a difference, like this, this one. This bad boy right here, this is not a coin. This is a round. And the difference would be, because stop shining so much, damn it. Shine on, you superstar. But this is a round because it was made by a private mint. Now, this same exact silver could end up in a silver eagle, which was minted by the Treasury Department, and that's considered a coin. The coin has to be made by a government somewhere. Now, one of the things that I'm worried about is that in our completely insane state of affairs right now, they may decide that if your currency is foreign currency, that you have to give it back. They could confiscate foreign currency. And believe it or not, if you have Canadian maple leafs, that's foreign currency. It was made by the Canadian government and it has a face value. That sucks. The good news is that all of the rounds that I deal with, they're all the United States. I don't deal with any overseas shit. None of that stuff. It's all like, I don't buy Krugerrands. I don't buy Philharmonics, although they're beautiful coins. Philharmonics are fine. And if they don't confiscate them, well, they're made of 9999 fine, which is 100th of a percent more fine. Some people, that's a big deal. To me, it doesn't mean shit. Silver is silver is silver, period. End of story. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's 999, that's pure silver. So if it's only 90% or 91%, then it's sterling silver. And by the way, sterling silver is still worth money. So if you have a bunch of sterling silver plateware or not plateware, silverware or plates or, serving sets, they're worth a lot of money now. I wouldn't say melt them down yet, but as soon as the CBDC is issued, all your silver and gold will be banned. No, that's impossible. See, we have something called a constitution that says that all money will be in the form of gold and silver coinage. Now, they can get around that by saying that the CBDC has some gold backing it. Okay, but they can't take our gold and silver away from us. That's the good news. They can make it almost impossible to buy more, though, and they will. And they'll do that under the guise of our carbon footprint and the fact that mining is a dirty business and it's bad for the environment. And therefore, if you buy gold and silver, it's just like flying around the world 5 times in a jet airplane. And you've exceeded your carbon footprint if you buy 10 ounces. And that's how they'll get us to stop buying it. Act of 1933 was because we were in the Depression. It said that we needed to, all be good Americans and turn in our gold, which was worth $20 an ounce. The reality is that was bullshit. The Federal Reserve Bank had made a promise that they wouldn't print more money than they had gold to back it up with. Well, guess what? They printed so much money so fast, they ran out of gold. They didn't have enough gold to print any more money. Well, what are you going to do if you can't print money? If you only have what's in circulation and that's it, that's not good. So they, under the form of this is good for everybody, they confiscated gold. Now, as soon as they confiscated it, they revalued it at $35 instead of $20. Yeah, almost 100% increase, which means if you were one of the 90% of Americans who said, screw that, I'm not turning my gold in, fuck them. That's what happened. It was a $100,000 fine and 10 years in prison if you owned more than 1 ounce, if you kept more than 1 ounce. There were millions of people that had lots of ounces, and they literally just thought to themselves, you know what, fuck these guys, I'm not giving up to them. Because back then the government wasn't God. Now the federal government's God. Now they've convinced us that we have to have this federal government around, otherwise we're going to be completely helpless. Like, my God, do you realize how many people would destroy this country in one day if it weren't for the federal government? Like, oh, you states, yeah, you guys are all independent, sort of. But if it weren't for us, you'd all perish. That's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. The federal government is a vampire. It is literally a blood-sucking leech that does nothing and takes in return. That's all it does. It takes and takes and takes. And it's almost like when charities say, oh, give us your money, we're going to help the poor. And then you find out that 90% of the money goes to the administrative staff and 10% makes it to people who are starving. What? Yeah, well, okay. So, it's like when there are organized religions that are like, look, we've done so many good things. Yeah, but you've done 100 times more bad things than good. But we've done good things. It's like, the way that it was put to me was, if you had a nursery school that you were going to send your children to, and they said, look, we have absolutely the best trained staff you could get. I mean, literally, most of our staff have won awards for their child psychology, for their innovations in teaching, etc. And a couple of them have been convicted of some offenses against children, pedo kind of stuff, but only a couple of them. And I mean, hell, we've got 25 people that work here, so then only 2 of them are, like that. Wait, what? No, thank you. No, I'm good. It's like, but there's only 2 of them. All the rest of them are fantastic. Okay, still don't like my odds here. Sorry, I'm just not liking my odds here. And that is exactly what the government is. Yeah, and that's the problem. As long as you've got, and I hate to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. You have a small group of people that have an overgrown power in your Knesset that they're not willing to work in the same way that everyone else is. They're not willing to serve in the military. They're not willing to contribute. They feel that you, as an Israeli citizen, are beneath them because of your habits, let's just say. Well, that's the crazy part, is that those people, the ones I'm talking about, would say that because you're not one of them, you're not even Jewish. Because if you're not one of them, you're not truly Jewish. And if you speak Hebrew, you're really not Jewish. You're speaking God's language out loud. You know how bad that is. So, yeah, I think Ned's probably starting to get the impression that I know a couple things about a couple things over there. So, and I do. And dude, like the kosher thing, only an ultra orthodox rabbi can bless it, and they get paid an unbelievable amount of money to bless the meat. Really, it's a scam. You see, I know, because the thing is, I grew up in Hollywood, and when I got out of the Marine Corps, I went back and ended up dating a girl who was Jewish, and her family. It's funny, the rich part of her family, they did not like me. I was not one of them. But it's funny because her grandparents, who were just the coolest people in the world, just the nicest, kindest people, they'd give you the shirt off their back. And they were not poor, but they weren't ultra wealthy either. But they were very Jewish people, and they loved me. They were like, we don't care. You're a good human. That's what we care about. Now, of course, her mother, who was very wealthy, the largest diamond wholesaler in all of Beverly Hills, et cetera, oh, she hated me. It's funny, 20 years after I broke up with this girl, I saw her, and the mother, she actually apologized to me. She's like, I'm really sorry because, like you were the best guy she went out with ever. And, boy, I said some pretty nasty things about you. And I said, look, I get it. I was one of the unwashed masses, and you just wanted to make sure that your daughter married somebody that was upwardly mobile. And you weren't sure if I would be, because at the time I was fresh out of the Marine Corps and crazy. And she said, well, the crazy part was probably the best part. And I was like, uh-oh, maybe I don't want to hear the rest of this. Good night, Annie. All right, let's see. That's the most important thing. You're a good human being. Yeah. Well, that, and that's the thing, is that the Jewish people that I spent a lot of time with, a lot of them were entertainment people. A lot of them were, wealthy doctors and lawyers and accountants and whatnot. But it's funny because they all shared, and we joke about this. I might get kicked off of TikTok for saying this, but it's true. And Ned would understand this. As a Jew, you get this. We would always joke about the fact that so many men were leaving Judaism, not leaving the religion, but like marrying outside of the religion. And I said at a dinner once with a lot of people there, I was like, well, obviously, let me guess, Catholic girls. And they were like, yeah, how'd you know that? And I was like, guilt. It's one thing that we all share. Like everybody shares that. Like if you want to guilt somebody, oh, they're like the Jewish grandmother. She's like, no, it's okay. You don't have to come over Saturday. I'll just be here by myself. My electricity will probably be off, but that's okay. I'll find a way. No, I don't want you to come over. It's okay. And you're like, oh. It even worked on me. I'm not even Catholic, but it worked on me. I was like, all right, I'll come over. I'll come over on Tuesday and I'll stay until Saturday if you just stop making me feel guilty. That's so true. It's true. So that's the only danger really to Judaism is Catholicism. Because let me tell you something. You cannot out guilt Catholics or Jews. You can't out guilt them. Whatever you want to say, they can out guilt you, which I think is hilarious. So that's something that, I think that it's cool that there's some humanity there. Especially the older ones. Sharp tongues. But yeah, I do worry because I think that the ultra Orthodox have it's just and this is me looking in from the outside, but it seems like they're the ones who are the most pro-war. They are the ones who are the most pro. Is if you're not going to be the one on the front line, you should be able to call for war. I actually believe that about our own government. Like if you weren't a war fighter, if you weren't tip of the spear, if you haven't looked down the barrel of a weapon in anger, you shouldn't be allowed to send others to their death. Unless, of course, you have a son or daughter and you want to send them first. If that's how important this is, if it's so important to you that you're willing to sacrifice your own blood, then it must be important. All right? I believe you. Look, if I'm going into this with your son and your daughter, I believe that it must be important to you. Otherwise, no thanks. I don't want to be some defense contractor's paycheck. Riding a bike. Oh, all right, Ned. Great talking to you, buddy. I was like riding a bike in the middle of the night. I just realized you were in Israel, aren't you? Right now. So you're GMT minus something. Oh, okay, cool. It's in the morning. It's a beautiful day. Well, have fun, man. That's cool. GMT -9. My God, I'm GMT minus. They're +7, I believe. I think I'm GMT plus. It's 16-hour difference. Yeah, that makes sense. That's one thing that is very, very cool. Hey, man, it was great talking to you. Jump on anytime. I do live streams just about every night, unless TikTok kicks me off and puts me in prison for a week, which they do a lot. All right, I'm at 2 hours, so I'm going to call it. I'm going to go have a cigar and listen to some music from the Hideaway Saloon. The Hideaway and the Buffalo Chip Saloon are literally just right there. Awesome places. And if anybody wants to come out here to Cave Creek and learn how to do a little square dancing, a little line dancing, a little two-stepping, just let me know. I don't know how to do any line dancing, and I can't swing dance, but I can two-step because it's, well, two steps. You guys have a great night. All right, my live stream, and I had nobody on my live stream. Well, that's all right. You guys catch this stream. Later on, and hopefully, over the course of time, we're gonna start getting up there, and pretty soon people are gonna be like, "Hey, that Big and Corn Fed guy, he's not full of shit. I hope. All right.